All right, let's dive into a really bold, maybe even controversial idea today. We're going to explore a new blueprint for becoming a profitable trader. The argument is that the entire game has changed, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for you.
So let's just kick things off with a question that probably goes against everything you've ever been told about trading. What if I told you that right now, this moment, is the easiest time in history to become a profitable trader? I know it sounds a little crazy, but stick with me. Let's really unpack this.
And this quote right here, this is the core idea we're digging into. The claim is that all these people you see finding success, clearing funded accounts, making real money, it's not some random fluke. It's proof that a new blueprint exists, and we're about to walk through it piece by piece. So, where do we start? Well, the first part of this new blueprint boils down to two things that used to be gigantic roadblocks for anyone trying to get into trading: information and, of course, capital.
I mean, just think about it. Go back 10, maybe 15 years. Getting access to high-level trading knowledge was incredibly expensive and hard to find. But now, it's everywhere. You've got YouTube channels with hundreds of videos covering literally everything from A to Z: strategy, risk management, liquidity, you name it. The entire path is just laid out for free. And get this, the argument is that if just 1%, a tiny fraction of a single channel's audience really absorbs this stuff, that's 14,000 new profitable traders right there. The barrier isn't information anymore. It's something else entirely.
And the second huge wall that's come crashing down? Capital. You used to need a ton of your own money to even have a shot at making decent returns. But that's just not the case anymore. Prop firms and funded accounts have completely changed the landscape. Now, if you have the skill, you can manage a massive account without risking your own life savings. There's even a clear path. You can learn another online skill, make a decent income, and then use that to get a funded account and really multiply your capital. The two biggest hurdles, knowledge and money, are basically gone. And this is the kind of result we're talking about. This number comes from a real-world example in the source material, turning an initial 400 rupees into 12 lakhs. Just let that sink in for a second. It's an absolutely mind-blowing example of what's possible when skill meets opportunity in this new environment. This is the potential we're talking about when those old barriers are removed.
Okay, so you have the information, you have a clear path to getting capital. So what's next? This is where the actual strategy comes in, and the central idea here is focus. It's all about mastering one single system. The power of one system is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Instead of bouncing around between a dozen different strategies, you pick one, just one, defined method. Maybe it's smart money concepts, maybe it's ICT, maybe it's good old price action. The point is, you go deep. You become an absolute master of it. It's like building a super highway in your brain for one skill instead of a bunch of dirt roads for 10. It forces you to build discipline and to see the market through one consistent, focused lens. And this slide just lays out the difference so perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way. Kind of chaotic, right? Trading random patterns, emotionally reacting to every little move, no real consistent viewpoint. But on the right, that's the new way. The idea is that today's winning traders are the ones who master one specific concept and stick to a disciplined system. Honestly, it doesn't even matter which system it is. The real magic is that these structured methods have taught a whole new generation of traders the power of discipline and focus, which was so often missing before. So we've got the tools, we've got the strategy, but you know what? None of it works without the most important ingredient of all, a totally redefined level of dedication. This isn't just about putting in the time, it's about a whole new work ethic. Now, this slide for me is a massive reality check. Just look at the math here. For a typical career, someone might put in 8 hours a day for 5 years straight just to get a degree and land a job that pays, say, 40,000 rupees a month. But in trading, so many people put in maybe an hour or two a day and expect to be making lakhs or crores within a year. The expectations are completely out of whack with the effort. And that leads us to the new rule. The big takeaway here is this. If you want the incredible rewards that trading can offer, you have to be willing to put in an incredible amount of effort. The argument is that you need to bring double the dedication you would to a full-time job or a demanding college degree. The people who are truly succeeding are the ones treating it with that insane level of intensity, practicing, backtesting, and studying day in and day out. And you know, when you put in that kind of dedication, something really powerful starts to happen. It leads you directly to the next critical piece of the puzzle, forging a bulletproof mindset. We're talking about building a level of confidence in your system that is totally unshakable. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? A trader with a bulletproof mindset doesn't need anyone else's opinion. If you find yourself flipping between 3 different YouTube streams, totally confused because one guy says buy and the other says sell, you don't really have a system. You're just gambling. Real confidence means you trust your own analysis, period. So, how do you actually build this mindset? Well, it's not some kind of magic trick. It's a clear step-by-step process. First, you master that one system we've been talking about. Second, and this is the part almost everyone wants to skip, you have to backtest relentlessly. This is the boring, tedious work, but it's where you prove to yourself with cold, hard data that your system actually works. And that data is what builds real confidence, not hope, not hype from some guru. Once you have that deep conviction, then you can execute with discipline and just tune out all the noise.
All right, and that brings us to the final piece of this modern blueprint. Because while you have to walk the path yourself, having the right guide can make the journey so much faster and smoother. But let's be real, finding a genuine mentor can feel impossible sometimes. So how do you filter out the noise? The key is to look for proof of skill, not just proof of profit. Forget the flashy P&L statements. Those can easily be faked. The real acid test is live trading. Can they actually execute their strategy in real time in a live market where everyone can see? That is very, very hard to fake. And hey, if you don't have money for a mentor right now, that's okay. The path starts with those awesome, high-quality, free courses we talked about at the very beginning. And finally, we have to talk about the timeline, because it's so important to have realistic expectations. Look, this is not a get-rich-quick thing. True mastery is probably going to take 1 to 2 years of consistent, focused, never-give-up kind of effort. Your results might feel small at first, a little profit here, a little profit there. But the beautiful thing about trading is that growth is exponential. Once you truly master the skills, scaling up with more capital is actually the easy part. The real work is in building that solid foundation. So there you have it. The blueprint is laid out for you. Unlimited information, accessible capital, the power of one system, a new standard for dedication, and the right kind of guidance. The path arguably has never been clearer, which leaves us with just one final question. You have the blueprint. The real question is, are you ready to build?